Howdy, howdy, hey, how is everybody doing, and welcome back to Disney Daily. In the newest Pixar movie, Turning Red, we meet 13-year-old Melin Lee of Toronto, Canada. She's a spunky, confident, and driven little girl who does it all. She gets A's in school, helps her mom work in the temple, and maintains a close relationship with her group of friends. She has a pretty normal teenage life, or at least she does until one day she wakes up and discovers she has turned into a giant red panda. As it turns out, becoming a panda is a genetic thing and is what all of the women in her family have experienced when they come of age, according to her mother. Mei also learns from her mom that the panda is only released when she experiences strong emotions. Although at first Mei is distraught from the whole body transformation ordeal, which is on full display when she runs away from school and single-handedly causes a whole entire street to shut down, she eventually learns to embrace that side of her and control her inner panda. I think what left me with the most questions after the movie was how was she able to control the panda, especially after having so many uncontrollable outbursts. I know that it had something to do with her friends, but what exactly about her friends made the difference? Well, in today's video, we explore and theorize what exactly it was about her friends that helped Mei control the inner panda. Now, before I get into what helped Mei control the inner panda, I want to note some of the things she tried herself that ultimately didn't prove to be effective enough. One of the ways Mei initially tried to suppress her panda-like ways was the deep breathing exercises. As you may recall, in her room when she is lying underneath the covers, she takes a big deep breath in and her ears disappear. She then tries her deep breaths once again, but this time standing in front of her mirror, and to her surprise, her tail then disappears. Mei quickly turns around and grabs two hairbrushes and begins to brush her red fur, and it seems to also calm her, because she quickly transforms back into her human form. An excited Mei yells, "Yes!" and throws her hands above her head after seeing her human body return, but instantly turns back into a panda form because she displayed a strong emotion. Mei is disappointed but quickly puts two and two together that being calm and taking deep breaths is what turns her back into a human. This, however, is not a strong enough solution as the movie progresses. But Mei eventually finds one, and it comes from an unlikely source, her friends. We see the day after Mei transforms at school, she is in her room alone trying to get a handle on her transformation, when all of a sudden her friends, Miriam, Priya, and Abby, show up to tell her about the new four-town concert that was just announced. Without thinking, Mei excitedly jumps to the window and shows her panda face to her friends. Her friends freak out, and rightfully so. Mei quickly grabs them and attempts to calm them down and reveals that it is her. Her friends then ask what happened to her, and she explains it is something genetic and that she is hoping it will go away soon. Just then, the thought of not being able to turn back sets in and causes her to burst into tears. But her friends try to cheer her up by singing a four-town song to her. Mei begins to sing along, and they all embrace each other in a giant group hug. And it is in that exact moment that Mei turns back into her human form, and her friends gush over her new look. Abby then asks her, "Is it gone?" referring to the panda. Mei tells her for now, but if I get too excited, it'll come right back. Just then, Abby pinches her cheek and Mei reacts, but this time, no panda. Mei notes that something feels different as she rubs her fingers together. She then asks for Abby to hit her so that she can test out if she really has gained the ability to control the panda. Abby proceeds to hit her, and again, no panda. Mei shrieks and says, "Oh my gosh, I stayed calm. Something about you guys neutralizes the panda." Miriam then says, "Aw, it's our love." Now at first it does seem that in fact her friend's love is what helped Mei remain neutral. And while love is definitely a component, in my opinion, it wasn't simply love that kept the panda in check. Because if that was the case, then her parents' love for her and her love for her parents should have been able to control it from the beginning. I mean, after all, there was no doubt in my mind that Mei's parents loved her and she loved them. The love that they have for each other is very obvious throughout the film. So what was it about her friends' love that served to be more powerful than her parents and ultimately led to her ability to control the panda? Well, as I said, love was definitely a component, but I also think there were other contributing factors that were, dare I say, even more important. I think it was also Miriam, Priya, and Abby's full acceptance of Mei, which is something that her parents lacked, at least in the beginning of the film. Her friends loved her no matter what, and she didn't have to pretend to be anything other than herself. Miriam confirms this by saying, "We love you, Mei, panda or no panda." This being one of the biggest differences between them and Mei's mother, for instance, who is determined to have the panda extracted from her body permanently and doesn't want her to display it at all. From the start of the film and even throughout, you can tell that Mei is not her true and full self around her parents, specifically her mom. One of the biggest examples of that early on in the film is when Mei hides her diary from her mother. This clearly demonstrates how Mei is fearful of her being her true self and sharing with her mom different aspects of her life, such as liking boys. I also want to point out that it isn't just their acceptance of her, but also their unwavering support of her. This can best be seen in the scene when Mei tells her parents she has learned how to control the panda. Her parents begin to show her a series of photos that would normally get a rise out of her and provoke an emotional response. One of those photos is a picture of Mei getting second place at the spelling bee. Mei tries to control her response and imagines her friends alongside her and what they would tell her in that exact moment. Miriam says, "The important thing is that you tried." Priya says, "You spelled your little butt off." And Abby says, "First place in our hearts." The support she envisions her friends giving to her is what keeps Mei grounded and is ultimately all she needs. Again, this scene displays the difference in her family versus her friends. Her parents, in my opinion, are consumed by what they want for Mei rather than what Mei wants for herself, whereas her friends are set on embracing her no matter if Mei is a panda or not. Now, as you can see from this scene, Mei's friends are not always around to comfort her. So the last layer to this theory on why and how Mei was able to control the panda was ultimately her frame of mind. Mei's frame of mind around her parents is very frantic and fragile. She is constantly worried about being the perfect daughter, which leads to a lot of, you guessed it, strong emotions, and a lot of pressure to control herself. This ultimately being the perfect recipe for the panda to come out. Whereas with her friends, Mei is calm and feels a sense of inner peace. Even when she is not physically around her friends, she is able to think of them and tap into how she feels when she is around them. Well, that concludes this video about Mei's ability to control the panda. Please leave down in the comments who your favorite character was from the movie. As always, thanks for being my guest here at Disney Daily. Until next time.